The next section to look at will be the warm sector. Within this area of the polar front, we can generally find low clouds such as stratus and stratocumulus, and occasionally advection-type fog. The reason for the cloud is because the warm air has come from the tropics. Therefore, it has had to pass over cooler land and waters. As a result of this, the bottom part of the air mass, which is in contact with the surface, will be cooling, and the air will be condensing, creating the cloud and fog. However, this is only happening at the surface. The rest of the warm sector above hasn't been cooling, and would therefore be mostly clear of cloud and weather. The next main weather of the polar front depression is the cold front. We stated earlier that at the cold front we have cold air undercutting warm air. The warm air is being forced to rise over and above cooler, denser air. As this warm air rises along the front, the temperature will drop because of adiabatic cooling. This may cool the air to the dew point and condensation will occur. As a result, clouds will form along the front. The slope of the cold front is a little steeper than the warm front. This slope is still quite shallow, and the clouds created by the rising air would still be layer type. But there is an important difference. When looking at the cold front at the surface, we see the front comes forward first, then starts to slope backwards. This nose of cold air is up to about 9,000 feet. This creates a unique effect. When cold air is found above warm air, that area can become very unstable. This means that the air has a potential for strong vertical movement. Convection will take place if the warm air rises into the cold air. This warmer air will now be much lighter than the air surrounding it and will rise just like a balloon. Therefore, we could find vertical or convective cloud concealed within the layered cloud. It is quite common to find large cumulus, cumulonimbus, or even thunderstorms embedded within the cold front. These are potentially dangerous clouds to aircraft operations, and the weather on the cold front will now be discussed. The precipitation on the cold front will be varied because of the mixture of cumulus and stratiform cloud. So not only could we get intermittent and continuous precipitation, but most probably some heavy showers and even hail from the convective cells. Associated with these heavy showers, we might get some strong gusty winds as the air is dragged down towards the ground by the precipitation. Even at altitude, we would have to be very careful indeed. The turbulence could be quite severe, especially within the convective cells along the front. It is much the same with icing. Generally, light to moderate icing would be experienced, but within the convective cells there might be increased vertical support. This would enable greater quantities of large supercooled water droplets to be suspended. This could lead to severe icing within the convective cloud. Let's now look at what visibility we might expect. At the cold front, within areas of the precipitation, the visibility would be poor, especially within heavy rain. But outside the precipitation, we might find good surface visibility. This is due to the convective currents extracting air contaminated with pollutants such as dust and smoke. Lastly, we look at the weather behind the cold front. Air here has come from higher oceanic latitudes and will generally be cool and relatively drier than the warm sector. However, the air here is moving towards the equator and therefore travelling towards lower, much warmer latitudes. This will warm the lower layers of the air and cause it to become less dense and rise, or, as we can say, become unstable. This instability leads to convection and so the formation of cumuliform clouds. As we have seen, this convection leads to showery precipitation, with possibly hail as well. Again, turbulence and icing could be a problem within these areas. This now concludes the breakdown of the polar front depression. We can see that looking at the main weather within polar front depressions, there is a lot of information to absorb and understand. The weather is complex and variable, but by breaking down the weather and the aviation hazards into the warm and cold fronts, hopefully you will have a better understanding as to what is going on. We will cover these depressions again in a separate lesson, and all these points will be recapped later.